Here we go. Ron's jamming out to the No Music, episode 11. I can't believe we have done this 11 times, and we have such a huge fan base. It's amazing.
It really is. Yes, I'd like to take a moment to thank all 1.7 of you listening right now.
That is our average, 1.7, which is outstanding. I love it. I'm super proud. In all seriousness, we talked about this. We're greatly enjoying doing this, and we want to get you guys involved more. We want to get people. Good evening, Frank, our dedicated viewer, Frank. We appreciate Frank very much. We actually talked that we want to get Frank on the show.
Yes,
Frank, we want you to participate if you would be willing. We're going to get you on for a future episode. If you would be willing to join us, we'd love to have you come on.
And feel free to suggest topics for that particular show.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Frank special.
Oh, yeah.
Frank's big special. There you go.
That could be a meal. It could be a drink, and it could be a special massage.
All right. Well, okay. We may have to make sure Frank's camera's off, but we will. No, we would love to have Frank come on, and we would love to have. We want to start doing guests, actually, and again, part of the format of this.
Did you say we want to start doing guests?
We want to have guests on the show. Thank you for the clarification. One thing we do want to address, though, in all seriousness, is that with us starting this out and trying to bring some light to people that are planning vacations or talking about various aspects of the theme park that a lot of people may not be aware of, or just helping people out with etiquette or things like that, or questions they may have. In doing this, we've had a lot of fun ourselves just learning to interact and enjoy each other in an online setting. And we want to bring you guys into it. We really do. We want you guys to join us. We want you to be more interactive, share it with your friends, talk to people. And as we get more in depth and a little more in tune and in sync with doing the show, we want to start bringing in segments, and we want to kind of structure it a little bit more. But one of the things we have talked about and really like, Ron and I like the fact that it is pretty much a free format show that we would love to be able to answer questions in real time,
right,
have discussions, and interact with you guys, not just ramble on for hours at a time. So we want to touch on the topics that you guys want to touch on. But I think everybody this week knows and wants to touch on the fact that it is Disney World's 50th anniversary on Friday. I learned today it is also Southwest Airlines' 50th anniversary, and they did a nice tribute plane that will be flying around the friendly skies. Wrong airline, great logo, or a great saying. But, Southwest is going to have a wrapped jet that is done with, it's actually beautiful. There were pictures of it posted online today. They unveiled it in Houston, and it's the blue wrap with the 50th anniversary logo. All the characters are on it. There's actually characters on every window, which is kind of neat. It's very well done. So kudos to Southwest celebrating 50 years as well and having their little tribute with Disney. Likelihood of you flying on it, probably not great, because it's one of, you may get lucky. I won't. I fly JetBlue, but it is what it is, as they say.
You could be going through an airport where it might be, and you'd be able to take a photo of it.
Yeah, that's good. It might pass you right in the sky. Could happen. I've seen jets up there.
Yeah.
Photo probably wouldn't be that great, and you probably wouldn't see the characters, though. All right. So with the 50th, Ron, what are you most excited about? Real talk. What is the most exciting aspect of the 50th anniversary celebration that you were most looking forward to?
There's so many. I honestly wouldn't know where to start. I read today that if it hasn't happened already, the beautiful thing about these celebrations is, first of all, they're never actually 12 months. They're usually like the happiest year on earth was 18 months or 24 months or 20 months. So I think we're seeing the same thing here. This is going to be an 18-month celebration.
That is correct.
And believe sometime, I don't know if it's going to be in the spring or summer, but of 2022, in addition to a new and improved Nemo, we're also going to see the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular rebooted. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the shows because I'm excited about the performers and the actors who are going to be able to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just as excited about the audiences who both have connected and those that bring the generational appeal of it, and then those who have never been. I mean, there's so many other things going on that I'm kind of excited. I feel like we have a front row seat to, and this month you're going to see this, and this month you're going to see this, and
I agree. I agree. I think they have a lot on the agenda. And Frank, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that is a great little tidbit right there. Disney celebrated the employees, gave them a night the other night.
Yep.
That was for all the people that have been there for 50 years, have been there since day one, and still work for Walt Disney World. And how many do you think there were?
I don't remember the number.
27.
But that's pretty impressive when you think about the fact that in 1971 there was one park and it didn't have nearly the footprint it has now.
Well, and not to mention, I mean, even go big and say there was 10,000 employees on the first day, which there probably was not.
No, I feel like 6,500 or 60,
okay,
something like that.
And you could definitely research it, but
yeah.
27 people have stayed for the duration. And I saw a wonderful article written as a thank you by a woman whose friend is one of those 50. Or one of those 27, sorry, that has worked 50 years. And she was saying that her friend was honored. They had a great big, party and celebration, and Disney presented him with his 50-year pin, which he promptly gave to her because he knew how much she loved Disney.
That's awesome.
And that just, I thought, was one of the coolest things that, you worked 50 years and all you got was a pen. No, I'm just kidding. But you worked 50 years and you get this amazing pin that commemorates your 50 years there. And there's 27 of those pins that were made.
I will also share a thing that I think is really cool. One of the musicians from one of the shows I used to stage manage happened to be the Magic Kingdom in Casey's Corner on opening day playing the piano. He's going to be there this coming October 1st playing the piano.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, is he coming back to play on a regular basis or just for the first?
Yeah, he's been with the company.
Right, but I know the piano player is returning, but I didn't know if...
Well, so the one that most people would know, Jim, actually retired.
Right.
Well earned, well deserved. But Jim was one of the cast members who had inspired me to want to go to work for Disney. This guy's playing the piano, smiling, having a blast, and just talking to people. I was like, man, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. For me, for me personally, I'm pretty excited about the new nighttime spectaculars. And I'm also excited. I loved Happily Ever After. I'm gonna be, I'll be the soft guy, and the little weak-willed father here. But I know it only had a few-year run, but Tegan and I had such amazing memories with Happily Ever After.
Right.
I used to love to watch her run to the hub and sing along with every moment, and really just get into every song and be dancing around. And when she was younger, we had the ears that lit up and matched the lighting of the show.
Yeah, glow with the show.
Yeah, that was actually incredible. And once she realized that she could change other people's ears with her wand, she had a blast changing the color on other people's ears to go with the show, which, she learned she could do through a phenomenal CM that taught us how to work the actual magic of the wand when it came to those. So it was pretty neat. She would walk up behind people that were, walking with their blue ears on, and she would change the color to pink and
That's
walk
so funny.
off.
That's so funny.
It was pretty entertaining. She really enjoyed it, but watching her with Happily Ever After was a memory I'll always cherish. And, being able to watch her sing along. And I know there were, for the generations before, for the years before, it was Wishes. And there's the people that are just so disappointed when a show ends and it moves on to something else, and they get upset. But at the same time, like, I truly cherish the memories, but I am super excited to see Enchantment. I mean, Enchantment is going to utilize projection on the entirety of Main Street, which will be the first time that it's been done in a Disney park. It's going to be neat to see projection utilized through the entire Main Street corridor and the castle. And then, the new fireworks show, the new music. It's all very exciting to hear and see new shows. I know you were very impressed with the Epcot show that was the temporary bridge show.
I really was. I did not realize how much it was going to hit me in the feels, but anybody who's seen it, it was a beautiful, encapsulated and choreographed show that very well summarized Epcot from 1982 to where it is right now. I
think they did a good job. It's not the same feels for me though on that show. But I understand exactly what you're saying. Well, and this is the other thing though. Epcot has never been Tegan and I's park.
I was going to just ask you that, and that's for me it is.
Correct.
Epcot is my park. It's always been my favorite park. I love it, just like I have a favorite resort, and that's why. Well, Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge, that complex, yeah. But Epcot, that show really, I mean, it reduced with the best flavors possible, everything from 1982 forward. That really nostalgically and otherwise Epcot represents.
So let me ask you a question, because some of my friends who are huge Epcot people aren't thrilled with the direction it's going now and feel that the change is not, everybody's favorite quote that I know drives both you and I nuts. Walt would be rolling in his grave if this happened. I
don't agree.
I don't either. But I'm curious to, when you see Epcot changing the way it is, and some of the things aren't, I will be honest, the eyesore of those new barges, I feel like I'm walking into like a Marvel movie where Loki's going to come through the Stargate and suddenly be standing and force us all to kneel, and Captain America is going to swoop down and save the planet. That those barges for Harmonious are huge.
Yep.
And it takes away from the feeling. I wish they were transitory. I wish they could bring them in and out the way the other
I
barges.
agree. And I don't know. I don't know the story behind that. If it was supposed to be a thing that, like Illuminations, was supposed to transit back and forth from the marina every day. My presumption is it probably was, but they may have been concerned about the logistics of moving it, or issues of it breaking down. What if it broke down under the bridge, and they can't lower the bridge? Now you've really created a real transportation challenge for people in World Showcase.
I honestly wonder if depth is an issue. With the sheer size of those, that may be they may sit lower in the water table than they had planned.
It's also possible. I agree. I think that's the only thing that would bother me is the way World Showcase is designed. It's supposed to be so that you can look across the water and see the different countries. But now, if part of this movement, part of this shift is to sort of disconnect from that feeling of being a permanent World's Fair, then maybe the placement of the barges is intentional, and maybe the fact that they're there permanently, so to speak, is also intentional.
Could be. I'm super excited.
I'm with you though. I don't think, visually, if you are going to have something that's going to be living out there in the water, it should be aesthetically pleasing. If you're going to discover through research a shade of paint that you can paint buildings so that they blend into the sky, such as when they built Soarin' or Guardians of the Galaxy, then surely you can come up with a fix for these barges.
Someone told me that they had heard, and this is the typical Disney. I heard from a CM's uncle's cousin's grandfather's nephew that there was some rumor that after October 1st, they will be ongoing fountains throughout the day. If that does come into play, or if they were to run as a fountain all day, I would have less of an issue with it. But that is still huge. Just the sheer size and space. I mean, they're putting Niagara Falls in the middle of that pond if they're putting a fountain in there, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see the show. I mean, the barges are technological marvels when you actually read up on what they're capable of doing and what they're going to do for and during the show.
We hope. In
typical Disney fashion, that's true too.
Yeah, as you well know, was it Rivers of Light or whatever the show was at Disney's Animal Kingdom? They were having problems with the GPS positioning of the boats, and another happy story for another time.
Yeah. Ironically, though, that is something I wanted to touch on tonight because I've seen a lot of posts about it as of late, and that is regarding 101s when things go down. And I know we have touched on these conversations before, and how your attitude is really, the make or break for you. But there are more and more people that are starting to post things about being frustrated with rides being down. And I want to reiterate it to some people, especially, the people in the back, that you're never guaranteed that everything is going to be up and running to perfection. It's still, I don't want to say you're going to an amusement park at your own risk, but you've got to understand there are potential issues. There will be refurbishments. There will be part of running a park is maintaining rides. And when they go down, if they go down for a significant reason, they're going to fix them properly before they get them back up and running again. And they're not just going to try to do it again and have to deal with the same thing.
That's a pretty optimistic way of looking at it. I think, the reality is when you look at your park map or anything like that, what they'll say is entertainment is subject to change. But I don't think guests are wrong in having an expectation that attractions
no, I don't either. But I think sometimes there is an overreaction to that as well. So, where did Ron go?
Oh, where did it go? Am I here?
Yeah. What
happened?
I don't know. We had a blackout. You went 101 there for a second.
See,
But
not
see,
just for Disney
we
anymore.
waited patiently, and you came back up. So this is what I was going to say about it. While it is frustrating, if you are directly affected by a 101 most of the time, what a cast member is going to do, especially if you get evacuated off a ride, you're going to get a fast pass or some kind of maybe multiple fast passes, depending on the time involved, to be able to go enjoy other rides throughout the day. That ride may come back up. I think Ron did break the internet, Frank. I think you're right. But that ride
Wreck-It Ron, baby. Wreck-It Ron.
New movie coming
Ralph's
soon.
Got nothing on me.
But when that happens, I also think there is a certain point where you have to be accepting of it, and then there's a certain point where you do have a legitimate complaint. That being said, taking to Facey Space, jumping on Instagram, or terrorizing a cast member with your temper because your $10,000 vacation has been ruined because you had a 3-hour wait in a park to not be able to get on your favorite ride, and then 5 of the 10 rides you wanted to go on were closed that day. Yelling at a cast member is not the way to solve your problem. And again, going to management, going to the right channels, and making your case without losing your temper.
I have 3 words for anybody out there who wants to do that. Attitude determines altitude. The best thing you can do, we've talked about this so many times.
Right.
If you have a concern, first of all, if you're in a park and in the course of your 8 or 10-hour day, 5 attractions that you hit are closed for some reason or other, then in the best way possible, construct in your mind a series of bullet points when you go to guest relations and talk to someone. Keep the emotion out of it. Don't raise your voice. Don't be disrespectful. Don't name call. And just explain. Don't please say, you've ruined my $10,000 vacation, because trust me, they've heard it before. And while you might be telling the truth, it doesn't help them make you whole. It doesn't help them fix whatever's broken in your eyes. So when you talk to them in guest relations, they're going to be open to helping you. That can come in any number of fashions. And I won't speak to what those will be, but all I'm asking you to do, Brian and I can't plead this enough. Please just be disrespectful. I mean, be the opposite of disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful. Don't raise your voice. Don't do any of those things that cast members, no matter where they are, whether you're an hourly custodial cast member, whether you're a manager, you're a park duty manager, whether you're a proprietor out walking about before you have to hit your meetings for the day, whether you happen to be the vice president of the park who has a chance to escape for 15 minutes, you have a chance to interact with any of these cast members. Remember, they wear name tags for a reason. They want to be recognized. They're human. Treat them human.
That 100%. And the other thing I want to point out in that too, that a lot of people don't realize, Florida weather shuts down rides every day. And one of the things you need to be ready and available for and understand before you go to Disney is, if rain or thunder or lightning shuts down rides for safety, you are not going to have much of an argument going to a cast member saying that your day was ruined because of rain or safety issues. Thunderstorms happen almost every day in the afternoon. You wait them out. Usually it's fun. I can understand if you were in a park and it rains from open to close and things never get opened, you might have a legitimate, conversational point with customer service. I know for a fact there was a Boo Bash early in the season that it poured the whole Boo Bash.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney refunded everyone that attended and gave them the opportunity to come back on another night. Yep. So Disney is aware if it is so out of their control that it ruins the guest experience, they are understanding to it and ready to, they're prepared to take the mass
Right. And
complaints.
bear in mind, it's important to recognize at this juncture, what you're saying, I think carries tremendous weight because, as a theme park operator, Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, any of them, man, they don't have to intervene and try to make you feel better because of an act of God. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they don't.
The airlines use act of God issues all the time to leave you stranded somewhere.
The
But
airlines create gods.
yes, they do. Yes, they do. But yeah, Disney, if you ever have an issue, man, you'd be surprised how much an ounce of honey will get you versus a gallon of vinegar.
Well, they're a company that's notoriously always been known for taking, well, positively, not notoriously, but they've been known for taking care of their guests. Um, with great customer service for decades. I mean, they are known for setting the par, and a
Yeah.
lot of people feel as though that par has slipped down. And you've got to remember, you're you're still doing the job of 70,000 people with 35 or 40,000 people right now. And they're about to come into one of their most pressured times
Yep.
going into this 50th, where they've yet to be able to get, hotels aren't fully staffed, restaurants aren't fully staffed, shows aren't fully staffed. They don't have the cast members in full on capacity to be taking care of things the way that Disney people are accustomed.
You
And
know, you're making actually a great point because we talk about the capacity in the parks for guests. Disney is not running at full capacity for its cast members. They're still
correct.
onboarding cast members into hourly roles. They're still onboarding managers. They're bringing back CT leaders all the time. But this is ongoing, and they're trying. The most important thing, without traveling down this path, the most important thing to recognize is that in the year or so since Disney had to do the thing it's never had to do, which is close its doors for an extended period of time, people left. They left the area. They left the industry. They went off and entrepreneurially created something on their own. They followed their own dreams, and many of these people aren't going back. So now, another thing that we talked about, Disney is having to hire brand new people and help them understand the culture in an environment that is very un-Disney. This, social distancing, wear a mask, all of this stuff that's happening. I mean, it's almost antithetical to
well,
what you think of when it comes to Disney.
and to further, exacerbate the issue, guests have shorter fuses than ever before because they've been stuck in a house for 2 years, and they're on vacation and they're finally out and they want to have fun. And that moment they feel like they're starting to get burdened or inconvenienced, their tempers are quicker. And I sadly I see it everywhere. You see it in the grocery store, you see it in your neighborhoods, you see it in local restaurants. People can be very, very quick tempered. Not everyone, but it only takes one quick tempered person to really ruin someone else's day. And again, we've talked about why Tegan and I walk around. So real quick, Tegan and I are going to Universal next weekend. We're heading to Universal for a few days, and we can't wait. And I said to Tegan, do you want to take a break from the thank you cards? Because it's a lot. It is a lot. And we're only there a couple days. And, does she want to carry them around? Does she want to hand them out? Or does she want to just go relax, and we'll sit by the pool and we'll do some stuff and have a relaxing vacation that we don't usually do when we vacation? We're usually
It's weird.
all out.
I'm trying to process what you're saying because it does not compute with Brian and Tegan that I know.
So she said, maybe we don't do it this time and we take a break. And I said, all right, maybe we will. Then I jumped online and I saw Facebook groups. Please be kind to your cast members. Cast members post, and remember, we're having a hard time now too. Team members post. And I said, Tegan, even if we make simple cards, we're going to do a card this
Yeah.
time. I think it is still just one of those times where it is so important to be thanking the people that are out there working. And, like, I don't want to, we've touched on this topic numerous times. So I'd like to get back into some of the stuff for the 50th that, is just really exciting that's coming out. Main Street Confectionery opened again. I think it was today, actually.
And the name's changed, right?
At Magic Kingdom. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
I know the refurbishment, and they had reopened, and I saw some video today of the inside. Looks incredible. I can't wait to get on Main Street again and go get some treats in the Magic Kingdom, because it looks like they did a phenomenal job. And as they're doing some of this stuff, I don't know if you saw this either. The electrical water pageant has some new floats in it.
I did.
That have the 50th logo.
I did.
So
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Which, incidentally, is a wonderful thing to enjoy from the banks of Fort Wilderness.
Dapper Dans are back too. They actually, at the presentation of the Southwest Airliner today, they had one of the Dapper Dans. They had one of the Voices of Liberty. There was another woman there. Tina and I, neither one of us were really sure what we think it was from Fantasmic, but we're not sure. That was singing, we think, part of the Fantasmic show. And then they had a woman singing from Lion King, from the Festival of Lion King show. So it was kind of neat to see them perform while unveiling a plane. But Mickey and Minnie came out in their iridescent costumes, and they raised the gates of the hangar so all the press people could see the plane. It was a little overly dramatic in my eyes, but it was typical Disney. Wow them, give them the full show. And it was pretty neat, though. And seeing the Dapper Dans back has been fun. I know they've been welcoming guests from atop the train station.
Yep.
Again, I know the princesses have been up there with characters, and more characters are starting to make socially distant appearances throughout the parks, which is nice to see. You're seeing, Mary Poppins and Alice in Wonderland back in the UK. You're seeing people pop out in various areas, and even though they're not formal meet and greets, you were seeing the characters back out in the parks, which is just very encouraging to me. I honestly think the meet and greets will be back fairly soon. I don't think they're much longer before they're allowing people to come in and take pictures with people again. You're not so sure that's going to happen.
I love that on Disney Cruise Line there are a bunch of characters that are there that will be there, as well as I'm really thrilled about the Magic Shot offerings, and that's the thing I haven't been able to find out, but I also haven't really done any deep diving or unpacking. But I wonder what sort of magic is going to exist specifically for the 50th. I'm sure it's out there. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I know at the parks they're going to have some of the live action filters and things like that on your phone, which will be very neat. I know there's a few other things in the works. I know the fireworks shows, the dessert parties are back. I also know that they are doing there's a couple of dinner shows now. I believe Rose and Crown has one for Harmonious. And California Grill has one for Enchantment.
So I will tell you, one thing I am thrilled to learn about is in November, Cirque du Soleil is going to be premiering a new show, and I think
it springs, right?
Yeah. It's called Drawn to Life, and I think
that's the animation based show.
Yep.
It's like
Disney,
evolution of animation or something.
They describe it as watch and wonder as the beauty of Disney animation blends with the thrilling spectacle of Cirque du Soleil.
Will we hear your voice in the intro when it finally opens?
I hope not.
For those of you that don't know, Ron is available for voiceover work.
Oh, Steak 71. Isn't that the new restaurant that opened at the Contemporary?
It is, and
Steakhouse
formerly
71.
the Wave. Formerly the Wave.
Yeah, which I loved. I loved the Wave. Some people were haters, but man,
Well,
they had a heck of a breakfast.
What I was glad to hear is the secret menu item is still available.
Well, come on. I mean, we have 250 people watching. So what is that secret menu item?
It's the pork belly with the egg.
Yeah.
And it's they're keeping it on the menu, which I was very, very glad to hear, because I was only recently introduced to that.
Yep.
And I loved it. And then they closed.
Look at that. Oh my gosh.
Heaven. Looks delicious. Their Steakhouse 71, the menu actually looks very impressive. And to
what
be honest,
you're saying is it looks better than Space 220.
For Steakhouse, I was actually impressed with the pricing too. It's not brutal. I think it's cheaper than Space 220. So Space 220, in all fairness, has been getting phenomenal reviews. I have heard people say that the food is very good, but different. If you are the picky family, I would not suggest it unless you're going up for the experience and you're willing to spend $200 to $400 on that experience for a family of four.
Right.
That being said,
it's still less expensive than actually buying a ticket to space.
Not quite, but I saw a hilarious post today. Are you familiar with the What If series on Disney Plus?
No.
Okay, it's a Marvel cartoon series that basically, for example, one of the episodes is what if Agent Carter was Captain America instead of Captain America? Like, there's different twists to similar stories. So I think one was what if the Black Panther was Iron Man? So it was just different spins, different alternatives. And I saw a post today online that made me chuckle. It said Space 220 is a what if episode if a restaurant was on the show. So, like, what would it be like to eat in space if you didn't eat in space? And it was kind of funny. It made me laugh. But the guy kind of nailed it. It's a cool concept. It's really neat. I'm sure it'd be amazing for a small child. But I don't know if I could justify some crazy food menu that I probably won't like much of the food, spending $75 to watch animation on a window.
Yeah, I feel that I don't know. It's probably really amazing to the people that love things like the space program and that love Disney. I think conceptually it's a neat idea. I think I can't say that I vouch whether or not this person actually believed this, but I feel like on one of the social media pages, someone was complaining about the elevator and how they're going to puke. And it's like, what a bad idea. And it's like, I just don't have the heart to write. I mean, I'm hoping they're not actually being serious.
But Ron, you got to understand something. Like, as somebody who has vertigo, I will tell you,
yes,
screen simulated items.
Well, it's that flashing, yeah,
can mess with me unbelievably. And I have had to learn to take put my ear patch, my motion sickness patch on, and I've got to be very adept of where I can immediately look. The first thing I do when I get on any ride now is I find that still frame area that's either going to be part of the ride vehicle or whatever it is. that I will focus on if I start to feel, a little queasy.
Right.
But there were people coming off a Ratatouille that were ill. And I heard other people saying, what do you mean? Like, people are getting sick on this like ride. But it's got 3D, it's got motion screens.
Yep.
These are things that some people have a really hard time with. So the elevator is basically 2 screens and a vibrating floor. And if you do have a hard time with that, and you're one of those people that your mind perception brings you to reality, that could be very upsetting to your
yeah.
appetite.
I wasn't clear enough. Some one particular.
Socks
Yes, I agree.
She's
Yes.
Tegan, can you call Socks downstairs, please?
Protest some more. That's right. Sounds like sport from Carousel of Progress. Hey, nice reference.
Ron's gonna take charge for a moment.
I am.
Yep, you are.
Again? Like last week?
You are.
I'm happy to do that. I guess I'm in charge, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not exactly sure if that's a good idea for you, but I love it. So let's talk about some of the things that are coming. Now we know things that so far won't be ready for October 1st. We know that Phantasmic is still drained. Oh, you're back.
I am. Just had to shut my door.
Okay. We know that Phantasmic. I don't know if we're going to see Phantasmic back in 2022. I really don't. It does look like we're going to see the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. I'm thrilled to share that. Again, Nemo.
The article I read on that said that may be available in December.
What?
Indiana Jones, maybe back in December.
What month are we? October? Yeah. I mean, I'm not in as constant contact with the safety peeps that are in charge of things like that, but knowing the process, the stage has been dark, so they literally have to go through and check everything. They have to check the vehicles. They've got to cast the show, and you want to believe that all this is happening simultaneously, but really, because they don't have a resident cast anymore, because they would always hire and train. All the stunt shows do that. Lights, Motors, Action was a little different because of the logistics, but any other stunt show that I've ever worked at, they were constantly onboarding people just because they needed several layers of depth.
Right.
But in this particular case, you're talking about a show that closed in March of last year. So along with it closing, your stage managers went, your actors, your techs, your stunt people, everybody responsible for maintaining that show, they're all gone. Shows like that have their own residence maintenance team. So they literally are going to have to assemble all these teams. And the big thing for me is missing that cultural and industrial entertainment knowledge means that someone's going to have to come in and start from the beginning. Can they have everything up and running by December? Sure. But I'd be surprised if it did.
I'm just going by tidbits that I have read.
Yeah.
And I mean, they obviously could. That is, here's the thing with Disney, and this as well as I do. Disney never sets a date. Like they set dates for October 1st for the celebration,
right?
But they are very careful about setting dates for anything hard and fast. They're coming soon. Yeah, we're proud to announce that a month from now we're starting this. But when they announce that things are coming back, they never give the date as to when. Right. So, there's a lot of speculation with, Club Cool just reopened last week, I think. But there's been a lot of speculation with Guardians of the Galaxy and Tron as to when those are going to be in there because, Tron, they're testing the vehicles on the tracks now. They're having motion take place. They're doing stuff now that people are like, oh, they're really close, but there's been no date announced.
Right.
So, I think Disney's very cautious with all of that stuff. And I think when you hear, a Walt Disney World News Today or one of the clickbait sites starts posting dates or speculation, sometimes they do come from reliable sources that are on the inside that leak information 100%. But other times it is still subject to change, even if leaked by reliable sources, because issues come up. You don't know, you can have every plan to open or do things, but that's part of why soft openings happen. That's part of why unannounced, rides start to happen where people are like, oh my gosh, that was open. We rode Velocicoaster in May. Its opening day was June 10th.
Mm-hmm.
There were technical rehearsals for almost a full month where it was open every single day.
Right.
But Frank, they even haven't really announced that yet. They're very hesitant on, especially the rides that were delayed due to COVID that had target dates. They've really just pulled everything back and given very little information on it.
And bear in mind, another really important thing is this happens more frequently with theme parks than people might be aware. Vendors who are hired on to provide a service, equipment, materials, sometimes they go out of business. Sometimes they have supply chain issues, and that is the big issue right now. If you've paid any attention at all, you see images of dozens of freighters sitting off of both coasts of the United States because there's just not enough people working in the ports to help offload those containers. So,
there's not enough truck drivers. There's not enough.
There's not enough forklift operators. There's not enough anybody, and it's
and shipping costs. That's something else. Real quick, we'll just touch on because not to get into an entire economic lesson on a Disney podcast, but the one of the things going on right now that a lot of people don't realize, and that I see people terrorizing, people for their pricing. And, like lumber was ridiculous early in the spring and things were really going up. Right now, transportation and shipping costs have gone up tenfold in many products because now those crews are having to sit on the boat out there offshore for weeks at a time, and they're getting paid. That crew's getting paid. So that ship is charging people based on the fact that they know they could be on there for 2 months because they can't get into ports. So the cost of shipping items has literally gone up almost 10 times what it was. So when you start adding that into things, it's crazy. And it was funny. I read an article today that one of the reasons the trams aren't running in parking lots, it's not just staffing. It's the vehicles sat for so long. They need maintenance and parts, and some of the parts aren't available. They're not coming in. So some of these tram companies, they're literally waiting on parts to operate these trams at Disney and other places too, that they can't get currently due to the climate of the shipping market. So there's the hidden reasons for everything. When you think you know it all, you don't know it all. You'll always be surprised by something, especially with Disney.
With anybody, I think. I mean, it's
but
just
Disney, the reason I say that, Ron, is that Disney is such a multifaceted company.
Mm-hmm.
If any particular industry takes a hit, Disney gets affected somehow because they own so many companies. They are in such a diverse marketplace. They have so many different facets, from food and beverage, to amusements, to parking, to concierge services, to their IT department, to the app generation to the, Disney Plus streaming
Yeah.
services, movie production. Now they have production studios. They're going to have production timelines, production
Yep.
problems, because now and you know this too, I would assume,
Oh
the
yeah.
film motion picture industry, one of the largest unions in motion pictures, is
IATSE.
about to go on strike.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, for those who aren't aware, the the union that represents the crews and the laborers and the folks that are responsible for actually making the film happen. And what's going on is the other unions all support. So Screen Actors Guild, AFTRA, um, uh, Actors Equity. I mean, everybody's saying we support what's happening because it's a very legitimate concern. And again, this could be
Well, crew
a
members,
series of shoes. This could
and
be a
because
series all its own, but I don't want to dive into it. But just be aware that for those of you out there who love your streaming and love whatever it is that you have, whether it's Apple, Disney Plus, which we were talking about Disney being hit, but thankfully its streaming operation is what caused it to really do incredibly well over the past year. But just be aware, if you see content start to dry up, that'll be why, because production literally came to a screeching halt in the
it's
U.S.
60,000. It's the second largest actors union in the country, or motion picture related union.
Yep. Yep.
From what they said.
Yep.
And it's about 60,000 people. And the biggest gripe, from what I understand, just to keep it very simple, is they're being forced right now to work 18, 20-hour days because the COVID regulations and everything else, and they just can't keep up with the level of work they're being asked to do for the rate of pay that they're being given.
They're required. There are very strict rules and regulations regarding how many hours in a day you're supposed to work, and then what's called turnaround, the amount of time you get in break, and that's being consistently violated. And people are being told, if you don't like it, leave, we'll hire someone else. And as a result, folks that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, it's breaking my heart, the photos that I'm seeing of people who they wind up having a nap during their lunch. They can't even eat because they're pulling ridiculous 14-hour days. And you may not think that's a big deal if you work a 14-hour day, as a matter of course, but at the end of your 14-hour day, you get to go home to your family, and usually you get 2 days off. But they're
going back and doing it again the next day.
Yeah, there's some things here that definitely need to be addressed, and
that's another thing too. Like not just in that union, but again, cast members and team members. A lot of those cast members and team members right now are pulling double duty. They're doing, they're covering shifts to keep rides at operational levels with staffing so that rides can stay open when they're not scheduled to work. I have coordinator friends that are telling me they're holding over multiple people on shifts every day because they have people bagging out or not coming to work, or not enough people scheduled. And so you're looking at ride operators, theme park workers, janitors, greeters that are there from 8 in.the.morning till 8 or 10 at night on a party night, sometimes 12, 1, 2.
I have some of my former peers who are still friends that are in leadership positions in parks tell me still about open to close days where they're literally there to open and close the Magic Kingdom. And I mean, that's just, if you want an example of what the face of the show must go on looks like, it's these people that are showing up and staying.
But and that's part of, that's another thing too, to the back behind the scenes aspect of theme parks, that the consumer, we're the first to say we would rather go to a theme park at 7 in.the.morning and stay till 2 in.the.morning and have a full day than see the hours that they're doing right now. You know, your 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. It's, you know, it's not even a 12-hour day of open hours of operation in parks that used to be open 15, 16, 18-hour days.
Sure.
But you start to realize that the part of the reason they can't have additional hours is they don't have the staffing, and they will literally burn their staff out and then risk having to, you know, you hear about restaurants and small businesses that are literally closing on certain days of the weeks right now to guarantee that their staff has days off, because they're requiring, they're a small enough business that their entire staff has to work every day they're open. There are companies out there that are going through this, whether it be a restaurant or a small mom and pop or anything else, because they just can't get help coming in. And Disney is no different. Even on the scale of Disney, if they had a low enough number of people, they're going to have to reevaluate hours, which they've done. Now, if they go further lower and alienate the people that have stayed with them and don't find a way to keep them taken care of and happy and morale up, you risk going even lower. When you start to go lower than that, you risk having to close doors or lower hours. So the consumers that are complaining about this for the amount of money they charge or whatever they want to say, I'm paying $200 a day. They're not. It's a legitimate complaint that you're not getting the same hours. And I understand the point that they haven't lowered prices to coincide with that. But their hope is to get staffing back to the point where it's no longer an issue. It is just taking them a very long time to get back to that, because people don't want to work.
To your point about lowering the price, that honestly is, you know, that's a slippery slope that no hospitality company like Disney or Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Knott's Berry Farm, fill in the blank. I mean, you can't do that. What they do instead, though, is we were talking about this last week. First time that either one of us can recall, discounted accommodations on Disney property leading up to the Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, everything. You know, it's leading up to that December holiday season. 10 to 20% discounts, which I've never seen for Florida residents. And I think that's a thing that all the parks do is, they come up with some sort of a, play one day, pay for a year, that sort of thing. Or here's a 4-day Florida resident special, and you do the math, it figures out to $65 a day. So those kind of discounts are still going to be available. They're going to continue to be available, but people out there are ready to go, or they've been saving money for the 50th. And even if it's the only trip they're going to make in the next half dozen years, they're ready to spend that money. You know it. You've made the trip. Frank knows it.
I still owe the money.
Anybody out there? Yeah.
I'm paying interest on that money.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. But I think, one of the other exciting things, and I know we're hitting our mark here, and we'll be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. But one of the other exciting things that goes on in the fall that I was hoping to touch on that we haven't had a chance to is Halloween Horror Nights and at Universal, which is just an unbelievable experience. I personally have never gone, but I've had conversations with enough people to know how extraordinary it is. And Tegan and I were able to see the team member preview night from
cool.
just outside the fence, and got to check out a few things. But we talked to some team members about what was going on. And this year was a little different, which has rubbed some purists the wrong way, just with the safety precautions and the plexiglass and some of the, things that keep it from being quite as in your face or scary. But obviously with a pandemic, that safety is much more important to keep their team members and scare actors safe and protected. That is also part of the reason they're not as in your face in the scare zones.
Yeah.
They're taking care of themselves too. So, you while you can be a little disappointed with the fact last year there was a lot more disappointment with the fact that there was no Halloween Horror Night. So at least there is one this year, and
Yep.
people that are purists about it might be a little disappointed, but they are thankful. And the houses this year are supposed to be really good. There's a couple great ones out there. Jack is out scaring again this year. Some of the icons that are out there. This is the 30-year anniversary of Hollywood Horror Nights, and they have some cool tribute stuff. We did have the opportunity to go into the tribute store, which is incredibly well done, amazing merchandise. If you're at Universal Studios, definitely check out the tribute store, even if you're not going to a Horror Nights. We're not going to have the opportunity to go. We get a free one with our pass, but the dates we're allowed to go.
No.
So we won't be doing Horror Nights this year unless
it.
some magic happens, which you never know.
Yeah, good point.
But chances are we will not be doing Horror Nights. And I still think Tegan doesn't love being scared, but I heard this year is a little on the soft side for what it would normally be. And once she heard there was a Beetlejuice house, she really wants to go. But I guess there's a tunnel in the Beetlejuice house that is currently down and has been down for like a week, because rumor has it somebody dropped a phone into it and it screwed up the system. So it hasn't worked since that happened. But I don't know if there's truth to that. I do know there's truth to the fact that the tunnel part of the house hasn't been working the last few nights. But I'm sure they're working to get that fixed. But we definitely want to enjoy Halloween Horror Nights. I want to check it out. And I'm doing a solo trip in December, looking forward to seeing the decorations at Universal for the Grinchmas and for stuff that goes on down there.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how that differs from the amazing decorations that Disney World does.
It's going to be fun.
So do you have any thoughts on Halloween Horror Nights before we?
No, let's make that we can talk about that next week.
Next week?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Hallow Scream, why not just
so Hallow Scream is Busch Gardens?
Mm-hmm.
What's SeaWorld's called?
Oh gosh.
Because they have one too.
Yeah, I thought it was close to that. You know what? We'll know next week.
Okay. So we'll discuss Halloween at SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, Disney
and Universal.
With a focus away from Disney. We'll because we kind of did touch on the Boo Bash already. We've already gone through it a little bit.
Right.
What'd you say? Whaloween?
No, it's not. Is it really?
No, I don't think it is, but that's funny if it was. Boo Shamu.
That's right, folks. Tune into this show where quite frequently the guests are funnier than the hosts.
Yes, all the time, actually. But anyhow, guys, I know Ron likes to wrap up in an hour because he has stuff to do. I'm unemployed, so I'm still looking for work. If you know anybody, I'm just kidding. But I hope everybody has a fantastic night. Ron, you want to say a few words?
Howdy, folks. Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
How's that?
One of my favorite. Yeehaw! I think we're out. Episode 11 complete.
In the can.